Came here the last time I saw a movie in support of fridging. Hey guys, back again with another review. This movie I saw about like a couple weeks ago, but just haven't had the time / energy to actually review it. Now I do, so I'm getting it done now, and I'm stalling because it means I still have to talk about The Flash. So I guess a little background on this film for those who aren't aware of the shit show this has been from day one. This movie has been in development hell in some capacity, pretty much since the release of Justice League way back when, and has gone through numerous directors and writers and versions and redrafts and all these different ideas, and it's been a mess. And on top of all that, as I'm sure many of you also know, the controversy Ezra Miller, as an actor, kind of went on a crime spree in Hawaii and revealed themselves to be kind of an abusive piece of shit. So all of that going into his movie was projected to do like huge at the box office. It did not do that. And yeah, that's not that it actually matters. People focus way too much on the box office crap, but that's a whole nother discussion. I'm here to talk about The Flash. I don't want to talk about The Flash because The Flash sucks. It's a bad fucking movie, and I went to go see it by myself. I wasn't expecting anyone else to go see this because mostly because of the Ezra Miller thing. A lot of people are boycotting this movie because of their actions in Hawaii, and I definitely don't blame them. I think, and I was definitely kind of torn on that as well, whether or not like that's something I want to support. Because I still want to support Michael Keaton as Batman, because I like him and I like him in it, and stuff along those lines. But I don't really want to support Ezra Miller. That being said, everyone already got paid for their work on this movie, so it's not like it's really that much of an endorsement either way. That being said, if he chose to boycott it for those reasons, I definitely understand. So the film itself is bad. It's a mess. It's bad. It's bad. It's really bad. It's really annoying. It's frustrating. It's a hodgepodge of ideas that you can definitely tell were written and rewritten to death over the course of the better part of a decade. It's not good. It's not good. And the big part of the reason for me, specifically me, is Ezra Miller themselves. And that's not because of their action in Hawaii, it's because I never liked them as Flash. If you look back in our Justice League review, both of them, I never liked Ezra Miller as Flash. I always thought they were a bad choice. I always thought they weren't a good fit. I don't think they ever really found their place in the part, and I found them kind of annoying. And this one, it's largely Ezra Miller talking literally to themselves for a good chunk of the film, because their bright idea somehow for this was to get Ezra Miller and pair them with a somehow more annoying version of Ezra Miller with this god-awful obnoxious laugh, and it's painful. It's really painful, and I hate it. I hate it every second they were on screen. I hated their performances. I fucking hated it. I hated it so much. I was so miserable sitting there in the theater listening to this obnoxious writing, this obnoxious performance. No, it's not like Pauly Shore bad or anything like that, but it just doesn't work. It's not like, this is not a good interpretation of the Flash, and everyone around the Flash is so fucking mean. And that's even before you get to the whole Flashpoint thing, which is already a story with a lot of problems on its own, just in the comics. Got a similar problems actually. Like, I've never been a huge fan of Flashpoint, the story, but it's for some reason it's the only one that Flash writers seem to have, like, people who know the Flash seem to associate with them, which is stupid because there's plenty of other good Flash stories out there that you could choose from. But that's a whole other discussion. So the basic plot of this movie, for those who aren't aware, is that Ezra Miller's Courts of Flash take place after the events of the Justice League. Either version, whatever you want, doesn't really fucking matter. And after his father is falsely imprisoned for the death of his mother, he never really got over it, and then he realizes he can go back in time and maybe change the past, but to save his mom. When he does that, he realizes he rewrote all of reality in the process, and now the world is going to be destroyed by General Zod, so he needs to team up Michael Keaton's Batman and Supergirl, Kara Zor-El. Is it Kara Zor-El? It's Kara something. Kara. Power Girl. In order to try to stop Zod, and also with the alternate universe version of themselves, in order to, save this timeline where his mother survives. And spoiler alert, it does not go that well for anybody. So I guess I can start with the pros first. Like I said, I like saying Michael Keaton's good in this. Michael Keaton's Batman. It's always fun to see him return. They gave him the good action sequences. He's a lot of fun to watch. Supergirl is also pretty good in this movie. I wish she was in it more, but of course it's not her movie. It's a Flash movie, so I can't really hold that against it. That being said, it is fascinating to see how this movie is better when it's about literally anyone else other than the main character of the film. Some of the action sequences are kind of cool and neat, even though they do kind of take big, gray, barren landscape kind of a thing. Again, mostly Michael Keaton. Do I have any other pros for this movie? No. No, I fucking don't. Oh god, that's bad. So the cons, obviously, is the story's a mess, the writing's a mess. You can tell us went through a million different revisions over the course of the last decade or so, and it's just, it's awkward. It's incredibly awkward. I did like seeing Ben Affleck's Batman back. I like the suit that they went with them. I like more the style they went with them there. I thought that was good. I am a little tired of Gal Gadot just showing up in places and then disappearing for the rest of the film. That trend's getting old. Although now that the Snyderverse is finally dead, thank fucking God, then now maybe we can finally move on to other people to play Wonder Woman and other people to play Batman. And they just cast Superman recently, so I'm excited about that. Either way, I'm ready for new interpretations of these characters, and after this movie did as well as it did, I am hopeful that they'll also recast Ezra Miller once they're out of treatment. They can legally do that. By the way, in case for those who are wondering why they haven't let Ezra Miller go already, one, they were already tied to this big budget movie that at this point WB thought was really going to save them and didn't. And two, by union rules, they can't legally fire somebody who was in treatment. So they've been doing the apology tour and hoping that kind of redeems their reputation a bit. But who knows how that's going to go for them. I don't know. I don't think their career is going to really recover from all this, but who knows. We still give Mel Gibson movies for some reason, so what do I know? Okay, so, yeah, and not to mention the CGI in this movie is really bad. And I try not to harp on stuff like that, because, like, of the things that matter in a movie, like, the quality of CGI isn't necessarily that big of a deal to me anymore. It used to be a much bigger deal in the past, but now it's just not. But this one is just noticeably bad, and I always thought it was awkward and weird how Ezra Miller run as the Flash, but here, it was a stylistic choice. You can kind of tell that, I guess, to try and mirror some stuff from the comics. It doesn't work. It looks really awkward. It doesn't flow smoothly. And there's other controversial elements of this film, namely the cameos that appear towards the end. I don't feel qualified to talk about the ethical considerations behind that, because I know there's been a lot of discussion about that. Like, for example, Christopher Reeve's Superman pops up, Adam West Batman pops up, the original, the original Superman, I forget his name, who was also kind of abusive person, was like also makes a cameo in there. So there is definitely an ethical conversation to be had about using, I think it was AI, to kind of recreate dead actors for what is essentially just a bit part. It's kind of, I don't know, it, like, on one hand, I get the fan service, on the other hand, it's still kind of icky. Not to mention all the cameos themselves look really glossy and waxy and just don't look good, and it definitely takes away from the moment of it, because it just looks so bad. The CGI is so bad. So I guess from this point on, I'm gonna just go into spoilers here, because it's been a couple weeks. If you were gonna see this movie, you would have already seen it. If you didn't, I don't fucking blame you. It's not good. It's a bad movie. Don't go see it. But anyway, so yeah, this movie also has interpretation of, I'm guessing, was supposed to be the Reverse Flash, which is the other Ezra Miller, who keeps trying to fix the timeline, because what keeps happening is, in this timeline, everybody dies, basically. Supergirl fails to stop Zod. She keeps dying. Michael Keaton also fails to stop Zod, and he keeps dying. And the other Ezra Miller, the more annoying one, keeps going back in time to try to save it. But according to the movie, this is like an infraction point. It can't be changed. It has to happen this way one way or another. So they spend literally years trying to fix it and fail, and they kind of become this weird, like, monster Flash, who, again, I guess is supposed to be the Reverse Flash. It doesn't really matter. It's not a topic that's explored all that much before they just kill them off by having the kind of confusing. The past before the Monster Flash version of that Flash sacrificed themselves that destroys that other Monster Flash. It's kind of convoluted. But one thing I do definitely want to talk about this movie and the moral implications behind it plays up on this old tired myth, and it's so fascinating. This is what this movie decided to go with as a moral, and I don't think it was intentional. Or at least I'm sure it made more sense as a straight adaptation of the original story on top of needing it to be this way, because of course continuity has to go back to the way it was, some capacity, in order for them to make more movies, even though they're definitely not going to continue with Snyder stuff after this. But the moral of the story basically ends up pulling on that old thread of the pain you experience makes you better, and you need to have that pain or become the person you're going to be, and that's what makes you a hero, is really channeling that pain and really kind of holding that pain and making that, like, helping that build character and build, like, resilience and blah, 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 blah. And that kind of pisses me off. That kind of pisses me off on a personal level. One, because it involves the passing of a mom, which one is already problematic because it's definitely fridging the character, promoting fridging as a good thing. Two, the implication that trauma makes you who you are, and I'm so fucking sick of that as a concept. It's something I grew up with. It's a notion that I have definitely dealt with a lot, and I definitely internalized a lot of that growing up. And I'm realizing as I've gotten older that that is 100% bullshit. And again, nothing brings that more home the fact that, as many of you know, my own mom passed away a little over a year ago. Like a year and a half ago now, I guess. And I can fucking tell you, no it doesn't. And I'm really sick of this myth, and I'm really sick of this narrative. And again, it's so weird because Across the Spider-Verse just came out with the exact opposite moral of no it fucking doesn't, no you don't fucking need this pain, no, so like you don't, like, this is completely unnecessary and just misery porn. And it doesn't actually help anybody. It just makes everyone more miserable. It doesn't make you stronger. And it doesn't, because trauma doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't. What you do with it does. Your choices outside of it do. And you don't need pain and trauma to make those choices. This might get a little personal. Like, the death of my mom didn't make me stronger. It doesn't make me stronger now. I made choices when I was younger that made me a stronger person, but it wasn't because the pain pushed me to be that way. It's because I made a conscious choice to not let it defeat me. And you can make the argument that as a result, that pain does kind of inversely make you stronger, but it's not because of the pain, it's in spite of it. There's a blender going on in the background. I apologize if you can hear that. It's a very serious discussion moment. I kind of have a packed house right now. Where was I going with this? So I really do take umbrage with this notion that you need pain to become a better person. No, that's not true. And I think that promoting that myth is extremely unhelpful. Again, I don't know how much you can hear that, but I can hear it. Just threw me off for a second. We shouldn't be promoting trauma as a way of growth, because it doesn't help you grow. If anything, it stagnates you. And kind of from this idea that if the Flash's mom lived, the Flash wouldn't be the good Flash we know now. He'd become an evil monster version of the Flash. That's a fucking harmful idea. It's not good. And I'm glad we're moving away from that notion as a society. I feel like we are. And starting to understand more about how trauma impacts people and how it really fucks people up for the rest of their lives. And how it's not something to strive for. It's not something to maintain. This is the one thing about Batman in particular I've gotten a little tired of over the years, is this notion that if Bruce's parents didn't die, he wouldn't be the Batman he is today. And while that is, like, technically true from a story aspect, the thing I really liked about Harley Quinn Season 3 in particular is it was the first time I've ever really seen that aspect of Batman criticized seriously. of saying, hey, no, maybe this rumination over his trauma and his past and his pain is a bad thing. Maybe he needs to actually sit down and heal from this, and then he can become a better person for that. And that's something we need more of. We need less romanticizing of trauma. We need less romanticizing of pain as a way to become stronger. It doesn't make you stronger. Who I am today and the resilience I've built, the strength that I've built is in spite of the trauma and the pain that I've been through, not because of it. And that's something I want more people to understand. That's something I want more people to internalize. Your choices within your life matter. And you don't need a painful incentive to make those choices. Sometimes, like, things will happen in your life that'll force you to make those choices regardless, but it's not a requirement. And I'm sick of the notion that you need pain to be a good person, to be a hero, to be what the world needs you to be. No, you don't. You can just make a choice to not be a piece of shit. I don't want to make it sound like it's that simple, because there's definitely nuances to it, but you need to fucking start there. And you'll find the challenges that come with that naturally. You don't need to lose people you love or need to experience something that wounds you on a deep personal way to do that. So I don't like the fact that The Flash promotes that. I think it's problematic. I don't think it went there with that intention in mind. I really don't. I'm working hard not to hold that against the movie. I think it's a fault of the kind of story it chose to went with, the fact that it really, unfortunately, needed to get to that point in order for it to actually wrap up in a way that doesn't lead to a multiverse mess. Yeah. I will say the ending gag where it turns out that the Flash just ended up in George Clooney universe is a great fucking joke. And I love it. And it's a great fuck you to the Snyderverse people. And I'm all here for it. So, yeah, the Flash, even outside of my grievances with its moral, is a goddamn mess. It's a hodgepodge. It's an amalgamation of ideas that don't come together. It's poorly designed. I don't want to say it's poorly acted, but it's poorly written. And it's just ugly to look at a lot of the time. It's ugly to watch. And I'm glad we're done with this era of DC. I'm so fucking over it. I've been over it for a long goddamn time. And it's finally over. So hooray. Hooray for the death of the Snyderverse. May it rot in hell. And if you like Snyderverse movies, hell, I don't give a shit. I really don't. If you like Batman vs Superman or Man of Steel or the Snyder Cut, I don't give a shit. Don't try to defend it to me in the comments. I really don't care. Like what you like. Does not affect me in any way. But I'm glad we're done with this era of DC, because we need to move better things. So I have faith James Gunn will do well with the next couple movies, with his movies. I'm really excited to see what he does with Superman, because he made Guardians of the Galaxy relevant. He made Peacemaker relevant. He made the Suicide Squad good in the modern age. So if he can do that, I'm dying to see what he's going to do with Superman. So I think it's all I really have to say about The Flash. So thank you all for watching. See you all next time.